All right, the dancing's always fun, and Cindy's been helping me with that fade. I'm not. Although I hang out in Ibiza quite a bit, I'm not exactly. My DJ skills are not quite up to. Rest in peace, Avicii, and some of the other cats I used to hang with. Anyway, welcome to the Scary Alvarez podcast. I'm of course Scary Alvarez, Wine Island enjoyer, Sherry Wine destroyer, Jake's grandpa, and Cindy's plus one when she'll have me. I'm very excited today to welcome to the podcast some of my all-time favorite ex-Badgers and also Vitaly Pisetsky. So welcome aboard, guys. This is great. And just so you guys know, this is the first, unless we're counting Matt LePay in kind of a weird way, this is the first Scary Alvarez podcast where we have ex-Wisconsin players, not current or future. So this is very exciting for the three of you.
It is very exciting for us.
Good stuff. I'm not going to say please clap. We're not going to have any of those moments. Well, anyway, greetings and glad to have you. Matt Bernstein, Travis Beckum, and Vitaly Pisetsky. You guys are some of my favorite players. Vitaly, you're one of my favorite kickers. I'm not sure how much that's saying because you know my attitude on the kickers, but it does mean a lot that you're here.
Well, I appreciate being here. I appreciate being your favorite kicker, favorite Russian kicker. This is a school that prides itself on foreign specialists. We actually have one right now, a punter from Australia. So we'll keep the tradition going. And I'm very sad about the elimination of a very important stable position like fullback. So, we essentially have a museum relic here in Hebrew Hammer Matt Bernstein, but I'll let him talk about that.
Well, this is good. I'm going to have you all kind of, and Vitaly, you started with it, just kind of go around the room clockwise. And of course, you all are well-known ex-Badgers, but just introduce my crowd. I got some young kids on the crowd now, and to who you are, and we'll get into the specifics later. But you can kick us off again, Vitaly. You're the MC right now. Take it over.
I'll do the kicking. I'm a little comfortable with it, I think. I was a place kicker for you, Coach. In what I call glory years, no offense, fellas, when we actually won the Rose Bowls, back-to-back ones between 97 and 2000, and played with a few notable Badgers like Ron Dane and some guy named Chris McIntosh that succeeded you. So, those good times.
Yeah, Mac. If Mac plays his cards right, he has a legitimate chance to be the second best athletic director in Wisconsin history. I'm really rooting for him.
All of us are. Good
stuff. That may kill the chances of him ever jumping on here. Hebrew Hammer, Matt Bernstein. How you doing, man? Let us know.
I'm good. I think I might have to go mute my mic for most of this as I'm hysterically laughing. Cindy's plus one, the Sherry Destroyer. Oh my God, I can't stop laughing. Matt Bernstein,
I don't understand why I'm laughing. I don't get it.
Because you, Coach, I've always been a funny guy in a serious way. Played fullback from 01 to 05. Didn't play during the glory years with Vitaly, but definitely played with Travis. So I think we were in the more beautiful years.
Absolutely.
When it comes to faces, at least Vitaly. Not next though, since I still don't have one. But thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And Travis, welcome aboard.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. Like Matt said, played with Matt. I believe my freshman year out of Milwaukee. Came in as a true freshman, getting ran over by Matt. Really paralyzed my left side of my neck. But hey, it happens. Learned my lesson and obviously played tight end at the University of Wisconsin until 2008, and then got drafted by New York. And I'm excited to join the podcast.
So, real quick, Travis, was there any culture shock going from playing some in Wisconsin to playing in New York City? There's someone who's going to try that this season in the NFL, and I'm wondering what's the jump there? What's that like?
I mean, it's as you can see, Matt. Matt's from the East Coast, and everyone there is super aggressive, and everything is much more fast paced. As if everyone has somewhere to be. It's way more just the scale of life is just completely different than Wisconsin. Obviously, you can relate the temperature to about the same, but it wasn't necessarily a culture shock. Just people are super aggressive for no reason.
I feel like Rodgers is going to go from getting like in Green Bay, hey, pick a number between 1 and 10 as a post game question to like, questions about his poop and stuff. I mean, they get really involved with those New York questions, and I just think that's going to be really fun to watch. I'm not asking anyone to take a position on Rodgers here, but I think he's going to realize how good he had it. I think from that perspective, because some may say, I'm not going to say, but some may say he can be a little bit insecure about things sometimes. So it's going to be interesting. But anyway, we're got a few questions we're going to go through. We're going to cycle through this. Some are going to be just for one of you. Some are going to be from whoever wants to jump in first. It's fun like that. But let's start out with this one. And whoever wants to jump in and curry my favor first is welcome to do so. Barry Alvarez, God, and Luke Fickell. How would you rank God and Luke Fickell in the 2 and 3 positions?
I'm going to put God second and Luke Fickell third.
Okay.
Matt's an atheist.
Coach,
go ahead,
you are definitely number 1, 2, and 3. I don't know why there's anybody else on this list.
Man, I appreciate that, man. But you already kind of have the gig, buddy. I mean, and you don't have to kiss ass anymore. I mean, we're friends. You get the Christmas card from Cindy, and you're good. Travis, what you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I defer to this question because I know God can obviously strike me down whenever he wants, but I mean, Coach Alvarez is a legend, and Coach Fickell is his biggest hype man. Obviously, he recruited me coming out of high school. I was a linebacker coming out of high school, so I know him. I know him as a coach. I know him as a person, and I'm going to say it's God. And then right after God is, I think I'm going to just have you and Coach Fickell right there.
Appreciate
it. I'm a little conflicted on 2 fronts here. One, you have at least 2 Jewish guys here, and then we're talking about religion for the first question. And the second,
it's God, though. We all love God. Come on, man.
We do love God, but we do love God. And this is the second point where I'm a little conflicted, meaning Coach Alvarez is God. So what is God? I mean, we're getting very deep here. So I'm just going to put Luke Fickell just in third here and move on to the next question.
This is like the Philosophy 101 clap for credit class y'all took. You're nodding. That in global physical environments, that's some tough stuff right there.
There's no wrong answers.
You walk in and half the football teams in the class, that's going to be a good curve. No offense, because there's a lot of bright guys, but that's a good sign. I was an academic advisor, so I know these things.
Animal science.
Oh God, that's great. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Art appreciation. Y'all take that too. I feel like
math without numbers.
Okay. Esoteric. Good stuff. So I'm gonna go to Vitaly on this one. You were once a Lou Groza Award finalist. How sick did you get of explaining to everyone you met what that actually was?
No, I never got sick or tired of explaining that. I just always found it fascinating that the year I was the finalist for Lou Groza Award, you had 2 members of the Communist Bloc as the finalist, and ultimately the winner in Sebastian Janikowski, myself, and Jamie Ream from Kansas State. So I thought that was fascinating too.
Yeah, that Communist Bloc didn't work out so well though in the end. Matt, I know there's a story that's now folklore about you not only playing in but starring in a game versus Penn State when you were fasting for Yom Kippur. You want to also talk now about all the non-holiday games where you ate 4 Big Macs before kickoff?
I already made Travis go get me some Big Macs before practice. We used to have the freshmen go to McDonald's. They were $1 for a double cheeseburger. We'd go and crush like 3 of them before Thursday practice. but never before a game. I was already heavy, coach. You know, you guys used to yell at me all the time for being like 267 instead of 265 where you liked me. So, you know, I had to steer clear of those game day meals early. Also, we played 11 o'clock games. You can't eat anything before an 11 o'clock game.
11 o'clock is early, and I'm excited looking at this season's slate that we're going to get out of that mold and start playing some night games again. You know, people are like, Wisconsin's not a great place to play night games. I'm telling you, man, that Ohio State game is going to be. I remember 2010, obviously, the last time Wisconsin beat Ohio State. It's going to be that kind of environment, I think. And I've called this out. I'm not asking for any of you to say this unless you want to. But I'm calling a Wisconsin victory in that game over the Buckeyes. The streak is coming to an end in 2023. I'm saying it. There it is.
Well, yeah, I think we better say that. I mean, we're not going to come on here freaking support Ohio State. I mean, that's a great game. Obviously, we have a Friday night game, so they're mixing things up. I'm telling you, Coach Fickle is he's not playing around.
Good stuff. Hey, Travis, you can tell me the truth now. How much did you hit blocking instead of catching passes?
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
it had to be horrible.
I mean, till this day, I thank Joe Thomas for me getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, because I'm pretty sure, like, where Joe Thomas was my sophomore year, that's wherever he was blocking, that's where I was. He made me look great. I would probably say blocking, how much I enjoyed it out of 10, probably like a 1.3.
Okay, so it's improved in the last 5 years. It's gone up from a 0.4. I'd love to hear it. Hey, it also, you were obviously an all-time great Wisconsin tight end. Eventually played in the NFL. You mentioned for the Giants and one other team, someone else, right? Help me out here. Cindy didn't give me information.
So I was with the Seahawks in an offseason, and then I ended with New Orleans Saints in 2014 in training camp.
That's a fun city.
Yeah.
What's it like being constantly compared to Jake Ferguson? I'm sure you get that a lot.
You know what? Actually, that's the first time I heard that. I don't know who you've been talking to.
Come on, Travis. Please.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. Jake's a phenomenal player, though.
He is. And as far as all-time great Wisconsin tight ends, would you rank Jake at number 1 or first?
You know what? This Jake owes me a jersey, and you're really pushing me to the fact where I'm not going to end up getting this jersey. So.
Well, I can get it for you. It's fine. I'll talk to Cindy. She'll call Jake and she'll take him out to lunch at McDonald's or something like she used to, and it's going to be fine. That one by West Town Mall. What was it? Burger King? I can't remember. Too many facts to keep straight. Matt, I left you alone there for a couple seconds. I'm sorry about that. If you could have played any position for Wisconsin besides fullback, what would it have been?
Oh, that's a good question.
Just kidding, man. That's a trick question. There was no way you were going to play anything else.
Now with the Fickle era, I've talked to Coach Longo, and he makes me feel like I might have been able to play defense. But let's be real, I would have been center, guard, and tackle off the bench. I would have guarded the water, tackled anyone that came near it. There is no 6'1", guy who ran like a 4.8. There's no chance of me playing anywhere but fullback.
Stop bragging about how fast you were. Matt, you're familiar with Gary Anderson. He's someone people keep reminding me of. You said you were 6'1", 260 approximately. Is that about right?
Sure. Yeah.
Anderson would have recruited you as an offensive lineman. Some of those classes he was bringing in, he was getting some real tiny guys in there. So you would have been kind of one of those spell tacklers that could maybe go out tackle eligible for a pass.
I would have been run over all day by defensive. Do you ever see some of these D linemen? They're like 6'9", 300 pounds. You ever see Wendell Bryant? You loved him too.
I do love Wendell Bryant.
I would never block that dude.
Of course you don't.
JJ? No way. No chance.
Some of those crazy Connecticut kids. I'm telling you, that is a per capita one of the greatest recruiting states at least in the 80s and 90s for Wisconsin. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. That was let's see, we got Russia, New York. We got Wisconsin, and Ernie, remind me where you're from again. I know it was originally your father, but like where your origin story started?
Russia.
There we go.
I mean, that's if you want like my family's origin stories in Russia.
Oh, like you're going way back. Okay,
I'm going way back. Then Westchester,
like
so,
Queens, stop bragging.
Queens, New York, I guess.
Queens. Did you run with a tough crowd there? Did you go and steal lunch?
I didn't live in. My dad grew up in Queens. He probably ran with a tough crowd.
Yeah, of course I did. Western Pennsylvania. I was a wrestler. Yeah, I got. What's that?
If we're going to talk about rough crowd, I mean, I played high school ball in the Bronx.
That's good
Without
stuff.
speaking any English at the time.
I'm going to say put your belongings in a locker if you're in the 1980s Bronx. But so this is a big one. I want to get to all three of you on this. This is obviously the kids are watching, wondering, we want to hear about the early, late 90s, early 2000s Wisconsin. Starting with Vitaly, what was your most memorable game as a Wisconsin Badger?
It's tough. I mean, but for some reason, the very first game that I think of as you're asking me that question is not the Rondane game against Iowa. It's not the two Rose Bowls that we played in and won. But it has to be the birth of Jump Around, the Purdue game in '98, that magical 7 p.m. kickoff. The crowd, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. The crowd was electric, drew through, if I remember correctly, for 83 attempts, 55 completions, but it was Jamar Fletcher and our defense that essentially kind of stole the show, and we won the game. I think one thing I remember really well from, like, people sometimes will ask me, what's the most pressure-packed kick that I've ever made? And I would have to say it would be the kickoff in that game, because Fletch just intercepted the pass, took it for the score. And my kickoff cover team was essentially all the safeties and linebackers for the most part. And I remember Jason Doring coming up to me in the huddle and goes, Vi, and he's standing right there, but I know he cannot see me. And he looks at me, he goes, I would really, really need a touchback here. We cannot cover this kick because we have to go right back out. And I mean, I'm telling you, I was like, whoa, I better put that thing through the end zone. And thankfully I did. But it was a ridiculous game. It was magical, and I don't think it can ever be duplicated. Maybe it will be duplicated this year against Ohio State.
It's fun stuff. We're going to go for it. I remember that at first I started jumping lightly, and then by the time Jump Around was in full throat, I had my 37-inch vertical straight up, like NFL Combine style, fast twitch stuff going. And people don't talk about that anymore, but I just want to make sure you remember that. Matt, favorite moment. We already went over your sort of like make a Disney movie about it moment, which I'm still working on. I own the rights to it. You don't. But what's another one that you think of?
I mean, I can think of any time we played at Camp Randall was special, even running out against teams that were terrible. But man, I don't know. Vital, you might remember. Travis, you might remember this. Your first couple years before they built the tunnel, walking through the crowd was probably the coolest thing you could do. Put the helmet on. People were at the concession stands. You're high-fiving people. That was awesome. I mean, that to me was like the most special thing you could do. That can't be duplicated anymore because you run through the tunnel. But I would say, yes, the Yom Kippur game against Penn State was magical, being an East Coast guy and beating Joe Pa and like having a huge part in that. And then, Travis mentioned Joe Thomas. We just ran his way the whole time. If you watch the film, it's pretty embarrassing. Everyone knew where we were running. It was Joe Thomas. I would say in 2003, man, we beat Ohio State after they won the national championship. They were 18-0. They came into Madison. They thought they were going to whomp us. It was raining. It was a night game. I've never seen more pandemonium in my entire life. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. and that was a blast. And then I think it was I was 03 again. Lee Evans' 5-touchdown game was unbelievable. Dwayne Smith had a great game too. Like, we just came in and beat them bloody. And shout out to me, I had 1 tackle. That's my only tackle my entire career on punt.
Your defensive special teams force, Matt, is never going to be forgotten. You're in the 1 tackle Hall of Fame over at Baraboo. That's a good one. And by the way,
Baraboo.
Vincent Baraboo, it's a lesser known Hall of Fame. And just so you know,
I just wanted known for the record that I have more tackles than Hebrew Hammer. I love it.
That's good stuff.
How many tackles do you have?
I have 1 solo and 2 short tackles, whatever the terminology.
Coach, go to the tape, Coach.
I'm going to go to the tape. All in my head.
And the forced fumble and the fumble recovery. Boom.
All of those things mean that something failed in special teams, by the way.
Exactly.
If any of those things are happening, something
when Vitaly tackled somebody, everyone failed. Not when I did it.
I mean, tackle falling down in front of someone in a heap. Some people call that a tackle. I don't know. It's fine.
But it did take the guy's legs out. You're right.
It's appreciated. Travis, what's your favorite Badger memory?
I would probably say one of my favorite Badger memories is it had to be, I think it was Matt's senior year when we beat Minnesota at Minnesota for the Axe when we blocked the punt. That was a surreal feeling. Obviously, you grow up your whole life and look to see. You watch Badger games, but you don't really know what it means to actually hold that axe and take that with you on the plane ride home. So we blocked the punt, ended up winning that game. But I would probably say one of my most favorite games is with Tyler Donovan. I think it was 2007 at Ohio State. We didn't end up winning the game, but obviously watching Tyler and seeing some of the stuff that he was able to do with his legs and the confidence that he had in me to be able to scramble, get out of the pocket, throw the deep ball. One of my favorite catches was at Ohio State. It's actually in the movie Draft Day. Touchdown catch in the back of the end zone. So I would probably say that was probably my most favorite game.
That was a good one. And if I remember correctly, we actually either had a lead or it was tie going in the fourth quarter in that 2007 game in Columbus. And really, you kind of smashed them in the face, if I remember. And I think it was one of those years where they had too many dudes, and it just kind of didn't work out.
It was Beanie Wells.
Wells.
And he ended up beating us late. I want to say like late fourth quarter. Yeah,
if they're going to call you Beanie, you better have some badass running ability. Is all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Travis Beckum and David Beckum. Who's better at football?
See what
I did there?
I see what you did there.
He calls it football.
In the States, me. Worldwide, he is. I'll give it to him.
Gotcha. He will say on his side that he can bend it. Apparently, that's his claim to fame, bending it. Ever been something that's
Nicky Minaj says that too.
That David Beckham bends it?
Some royalties. She said bend it like Beckham. She says in her songs. Get some royalties off that.
Did Nicki Minaj
royalties off of that play in Draft Day, the movie?
No, I tried to.
You should have.
Dirt bags.
You should have. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get on the phone to Dennis Quaid immediately. Who I think was an executive producer. Travis, any Nicki Minaj songs about you? You got to be careful here, man. I don't know what your
not Nicki Minaj
situation is with relationships, but yeah, she likes to kind of pull it all out there, from what I understand.
Yeah, she's a wild one.
She's a good one. Just think if a Nicki Minaj song had dropped instead of Jump Around, it could have been a totally different vibe at Camp Randall. I guess she probably would have been like 7 at the time, but who knows? Anyway, Vitaly, I heard you played soccer as a child in Russia. Were there any other ways your parents neglected you?
I feel like I've heard that before, and I
bet you have. You played soccer in Russia, man. What are you going to do? You're going to hear that.
I find it very ironic that, yes, I have played soccer, but the first soccer-related question goes to Travis and not to me. I'm a little offended, Coach.
What the funnier one went to you? Let's be honest.
Now you've offended Travis again.
No. The funnier question, not the funnier answer. Now, what offended you again? It's what we do, Vitaly.
It's what
It's
we
like
do.
it's a fun game.
We take it, we give it right back.
We
No,
do.
but you know what? To answer your far-reaching question, let's put it that way. I was able to escape the difficulties of growing up in the environment that I did, playing the game that I did, and ended up playing football for you. So I've overcome that, and I'm proud of it.
Well, I'm not sure he's played football, but you did kick, so I do appreciate that. One more question.
My physical nature.
Who tackles?
Playing Wisconsin, brand of Wisconsin football earlier, Coach. Stay with it.
You're 2,418th on the all-time Wisconsin tackle list.
Ahead of Bernie.
Hang a banner like PJ Fleck. Wait, one more time.
Ahead of this one guy. I had one tackle.
I said I'm ahead of Bernie on that list, and I don't know how many tackles Travis had, so I might just be the leading tackler in this podcast.
Travis,
No, I think I had about 4 or 5.
There you go. Okay, second leading.
Yikes! So, Vitaly, you're second in this podcast. Matt's third, and Travis is first. He's just very modest about it. That's good stuff.
Got it.
Vitaly, we're on the subject. At one point, after you were married, did you admit to your wife that you were a kicker?
It was a difficult conversation. Thankfully, though, she witnessed me, put on that Ocean W helmet. She knew what she was getting into. She still got into it. Not sure she doesn't regret it at this point, but that'll probably be the extent of my marital discussion here.
She doesn't regret it. So I need a prediction for the following, for this upcoming season. I'm going to go around the room. I need a prediction for this upcoming season. Travis, Wisconsin women's basketball.
Okay. I work with athletics. So,
okay. So perfect.
I mean,
how about you're excited about
Coach Marissa is she's coming in with a different energy. I think once they buckle down, get the recruiting correct, I think they're going to be much better than years past. But I think just in general, just what Chris McIntosh is doing around here is unbelievable, and he's really putting the foot down. I hadn't seen this happening in the past. Coming in with a different energy as far as Mike Hastings, and Coach, I actually think it's comparable to when you came over your first year. All the hype. I mean, Coach Fickle is got the same amount of hype, if not more. Coach, just being honest.
We're excited. We're excited about it. And he didn't have what would have been the 2022 equivalent of my saying. He's like, I'm not sure if you have your tickets yet, but if you want to be waiting in a long single file line to slowly file in the student section with 7 minutes in the first quarter, you better do so now. That would have been a little bit different twist on it. Matt, men's hockey. Got new coach Hastings in there. How we looking this year?
I hope good. I don't know much about hockey since the early 2000s. We went back to the women's team went back to back, and we won the national championship. Was it 04, 05, 03?
No, I was there when
06.
we. So
06?
06? Yeah.
Dude, those guys were good, man. I mean that team was on a pedestal, close to football and close to basketball. And if we can get back there, which I don't see why Wisconsin shouldn't, we could be a powerhouse in hockey. By the way, to go back to women's basketball, that's like a fun game to go to. If you have a family, there are tickets. It's not as packed, obviously, as like a men's game, but you can be comfortable and enjoy. It's like a good game to watch. I would have season tickets to the women's game if I lived in Madison right now.
Everyone's not 260. Normal people sit comfortable in chairs.
That's also true. So that's why I like to have nobody sitting to my left. To my right's okay, not to my left. I like to lean on the left a little more.
Matt, you just buy 2 seats, man. That's how you do it. But Vitaly, how's the wrestling team looking? I just had Chris Bono on my last episode. Great guy. And are you excited about this year's wrestling season?
I'm pumped about the wrestling season as someone who dedicates a ton of time following the wrestling programs all over the country, in the Big Ten in particular. I couldn't be more excited about the future of the wrestling program at UW.
Good stuff. So should I ask you your favorite 4 wrestlers on the team? You want to? Actually, we're kind of running out of time here, so we'll get to that.
We are out of time. Yes.
We're going to play a word association game. These are always fun. They're fun for me, not for the guests necessarily. But I'm gonna say a name or a word or some combination, and I want you to give me the first thing that comes to your mind after I say that. And we're already with you, Vitaly, so I'm going to start. Brett Bielema.
Clock management.
And the real ones know why that's funny. Matt, PJ Fleck.
Dork.
He's going to hang a banner for being called a dork by Matt Bernstein and Scary Alvarez podcast. That's how this dude is. It's amazing. Travis Culvers.
Oh my goodness, my favorite.
It's good stuff.
2 words. That's
Coach,
2
you gave
words,
me
but...
PJ Fleck and you gave Travis Culvers?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you can't go wrong, baby. Sign
Travis. Travis just signed his
NIL.
Yeah, I did. We had kind of a different kind of NIL system back in the day. We're not going to get into, but Travis, congratulations, you're now a Culver's emissary.
Appreciate it.
But Vitaly, Greg Gard.
I can't come up with one word, but I mean, it's tough to follow the legend. Just ask, Brett Bielema.
I will, but I will say this: Greg Gard didn't sneak out of. He's not going to sneak out of Madison to go to the 47th best state in the country in the middle of the night. The coach.
He's not. I am a fan of Greg Gard, though.
Yeah, me too. Matt, Spotted Cow.
Delicious. I drink one at any point of any day. I drink 10.
Okay.
Anytime. Coach, send some my way, please.
Sure thing. Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely send that your way. Just be on the lookout for that.
Listen, that's an NIL deal that I would take for sure. Oh my goodness.
Where's mine?
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what we can do. I'm gonna put my hype man Joe Ferguson on that and see what he can be done. And Travis, we touched on this previously, but Jake Ferguson.
Athlete. I mean, just some of the stuff that he did. His rookie year in Dallas was unbelievable. I mean, jumping over people. That's just stuff. That's stuff you love to see.
And you know where he got it from? Grandpa. Those who don't know, I'm his grandpa. I know we've kind of hidden that over the years. And so now we're revealing everyone's revealing something. 2023 Wisconsin football record and what bowl they're going to be in. Vitaly, start with you.
They're going to be in the Rose Bowl because there's nothing better than the Rose Bowl. Record, we're going to beat Ohio State. I don't see a perfect season, but maybe one loss in there somewhere, maybe Iowa. Hopefully not, but I do see us in the Rose Bowl.
If you beat Ohio State, that goes a long way towards having a perfect season, though, semantically. Matt, what do you got?
I mean, this year, I'm trying to manage my expectations only because we have a whole new everything, whole new coaching staff, new offense, new defense. I'm excited, though, for the trajectory. I think it's straight up. I think we're in the playoffs not this season, maybe next season, and for the foreseeable future. But we could be anywhere from like 9-3 to 12-1. I'm anywhere in between there. I'm just looking for a team of guys who just want to fight and be, punish teams, play within the rules, and just be exciting. I think the offense is going to be super exciting. I wish Travis was out there because this dude is that's the offense built for this guy.
We'll see what we can do with eligibility. I think it might be a little tricky. We'll see how great McIntosh actually is. If you can get Travis an extra year here. Travis, I know you do some work with the department, and I don't want to put you in a tough position if you're not willing to give an actual record. But what is the actual record going to be?
You know what? I'm all about the hype. I really am. I wouldn't say that I would be surprised if these guys win the Big Ten. I think that we're getting a little bit of respect in the rankings as far as some of us having us at 19 after last season, but it's going to come down to the end of the season. And obviously if we beat Ohio State, that's going to be big, but it's just going to come down to if we get the respect that we deserve after Coach Fickell's his first year here.
Agreed. And, one thing I want to make sure to state is I think it's going to be a big season with gigantic wins. I don't want people to forget about the Axe game. They treat it as some sort of, we're going up to a tough place to play with a coach who thinks he's the best coach in the Big 10 or Big 20, whatever it's called now, Big 18. And that Axe game is going to matter this year as much or as more than in past years, because I think it's going to be the game we're going to need to get to the Big 10 championship game. And I just want to go in there and you guys remember the 2019 game,
I love that game,
where we went up and smacked probably the best Minnesota team since 1967. I want a repeat of that. I don't care if it's snowing. I want to go up and absolutely pulverize Minnesota this year and just literally chop the goalpost down. I'm not talking figuratively. I want to hire a John Deere and take those goalposts right out of that 20,000 seat stadium and remind PJ Fleck and the Gopher fans who really runs that show. Right? I mean, am I onto something here?
I love it. I love the enthusiasm. It's funny. I was just talking to my kids about recent games that have excited me personally, and that 19 Minnesota game together with 19 Michigan games are the ones that I go to. But yeah, I love that game, and we need more of that. We've all grown up as Badgers knowing who our main rival is, and beating Minnesota is special, and losing to them as sadly frequently as we have in the last couple of years hurts me, and I've been removed from the program for a few decades now. So hopefully the importance of that game is carried on with the current squad by the current coaches. I'm sure it is.
It is. It's very painful, and I just want to help PJ Fleck along to his destiny, which of course is coaching in the XFL. I think that'd be perfect for him. His enthusiasm, he can get in there and do some of the stuff with the cheerleaders, like the routines, and it's great. Anyway, gentlemen, this has been. I know we spent a lot of time together, all four of us at various times, but the absolute thrill of a lifetime for each of you. And I want to thank you for jumping on today, jumping around a little bit for here. That's a callback to the jump around thing the kids do.
You did there.
The ones that are still there in the third quarter. But this is cool. Let's do this again. But I think it's going to be a big season for the Badgers this year. And I do think, as I said, the losing streak against Ohio State is going to end. And that's going to go a long way towards the Fickell era. One piece of advice, if you want to keep the fun and the joy going, do not look at Wisconsin's 2024 schedule. Just a little piece of advice. It's not just adding Bama, but it's just going to be. We'll be up for it. The team's going to be great, but that's going to be a wild, challenging season. That's going to be the way of the world going forward. So I think this is the year to go in there and have some fun, and then we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks again, guys.
Alabama series. Looking forward to that Alabama series.
Yeah, I really wanted a home and home, meaning both of the games were in Camp Randall, but Saban wasn't as into that, and so there you go. He would do one in Janesville apparently, and I just said no way, that ain't gonna happen. All right, guys, well have a great day, and thanks again for being on the Scary Alvarez podcast.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. On Wisconsin.
Thanks, Coach. On Wisconsin.